go. Hey!
What's up, beautifuls?
We're back, everybody. Back for reals.
Well, I got piano hands.
They call that jazz hands, right?
You got a piano?
Jizz hands.
Well, that too.
They call it jizz hands.
Because I'm lonely.
Well.
Can I have a hit of that?
I thought you quit.
I just want some nicotine, you know?
It is mixed berry.
Never mind. Never mind.
You saw it here first, guys. Seth can't handle his nicotine anymore.
It's berry.
It's very good.
It's very good.
What was that from?
That was
from
me.
us, wasn't it?
I was stupid one day, and I bummed a hit off of his vape. And I was like, what flavor is this? It's really good. And he was like, yeah, it's berry. And I didn't realize that he had told me the name of the flavor. And I was like, yeah, I get it. Very good. But what's the flavor? And then he looked at me like I was an idiot, because I am.
Very good.
Very good.
All right. So before we had to go on hiatus,
I went to Switzerland.
Because of the thing we can't name, or else if you name the bad thing that happened in 2020, you automatically get demonetized on that video.
You can't say the C word?
No. You can say cunt. I'm just kidding. We're already demonetized.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. You can't say, you know, because we do say cunt a lot.
But yeah, if you say COVID or coronavirus, it demonetizes your video, which that doesn't matter to us because we don't make money off this.
Nope, we suck.
But
you guys love it. You guys keep coming.
Yeah.
And breathing hard.
So, before we had to go on hiatus for that, I had mentioned that we were going to do an episode called The Missing Boys of Yuba City.
They disappeared, man.
So, now we're going to actually do The Missing Boys of Yuba City. So, I've got this.
Hold it up so they know that you worked hard.
Work
hard, play hard, work hard, play hard.
Look.
Rest in peace,
pages of research.
Can you believe Wiz Khalifa died? Rest in peace, Wiz Khalifa.
He didn't die.
Huh?
Wiz Khalifa?
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Kobe Bryant?
Oh, sorry. It's easy to get the two confused.
Did you really get them confused?
No, I just know the climate right now, and I wanna poke at it.
If we weren't already demonetized.
We are now.
All right. So, are you ready for a story?
Oh, I'm ready for a story, baby. Are you
wild.
guys ready for a story?
It gets wild. All right. The Missing Boys of Yuba City. 5 young men went missing in California in 1978. The men, Bill Sterling, Jack Hewitt, Ted Weir, Jack Madruga, and Gary Mathias. Aged 24 to 32, and all 5 had mild mental health issues, but none so severe that they could not look after themselves. Sterling, age 29, and Hewitt, age 24, both had the mindsets of young teenagers despite being in their mid to late 20s. They were kind of slow.
I know a guy like that. With
Weir and Madruga considered to be having the mind of their own age, but slow learners. Mathias, age 25, suffered from schizophrenia, believed to have been caused by drug problems he developed during his tenure in the Army, where he was stationed in West Germany in the early 1970s.
Pretty sure that's just PTSD, but okay.
So, Mathias's drug problem became severe enough that he was psychiatrically discharged from the Army and returned to Yuba City, California to live with his parents, and he began treatment at a local mental hospital. Early on, the treatment for his schizophrenia seemed to not work at all. Mathias, oh shit. Oh, never mind.
Well, that's good. Remember last time.
Yeah, we got to keep this up and running so we don't fuck up again. Let's see. Mathias was nearly arrested twice for assault. What the fuck? Oh, that's fine. Matthias was nearly arrested twice for assault, and he often suffered psychotic episodes that would eventually lead him being placed in a local VA hospital. But by 1978, he was being treated as an outpatient with the help of medication and was considered by his doctors to be a success and no longer a harm to himself or society. Sterling also had a small military background and was highly resourceful when it came to the outdoors.
So he knew what he was doing out there.
Collectively, the men's parents referred to them as the boys, and they were often seen hanging together around Yuba City. All 5 men lived with their parents, and their favorite activity was sports. They would frequently get together to play sports or watch a game. They had formed their own basketball team, the Gateway Gators, and they were locally sponsored by a program for the mentally handicapped.
No.
On February 25th, 1978, they were due to play the first game in a tournament that had been sponsored by the Special Olympics. The winning team of this tournament would get a free weekend trip to Los Angeles. On February 24th, the 5 friends decided to drive to Chico, California that night and watch the University of California basketball game. Madruga and Matthias were the only 2 of the 5 that had a driver's license. But since Matthias did not own his own car, Madruga drove the 50 miles north to Chico in his 1969 Mercury Montego. After the game, Madruga drove them in a short distance to Bears Market in downtown Chico. They bought snacks and drinks shortly before 10 p.m. This was confirmed by the clerk, who said she was upset because the store closed at 10, and when the men entered, it prevented her from beginning her nightly cleanup. This was the last time they were seen alive. Some of the men's parents had stayed up and waited for their return, but when morning came and the men had not arrived, they notified police. Police began searching the northern route to Chico that the men had traveled, but found no sign of them. A few days later, a Plumas National Forest park ranger told investigators that he had seen the Mercury Montego parked on Oroville Quincy Road on February 25th. He did not initially report this because it was common for residents of the area to park along this road when going skiing. The car was located 70 miles from Chico. None of the men's family members could give an explanation as to why they had traveled a dirt road on a winter night without any extra clothing, because they had only been wearing light jackets when they departed. Madruga's parents noted that he did not enjoy cold weather and had never been in the mountains before. When police searched the car, evidence suggested that the men had been inside of it after their last sighting. Wrappers from the snacks they had purchased were present. Police also found programs from the basketball game they had attended and a road map of California that had been neatly folded. Police could not determine why the car had been abandoned. The car had become stuck in the snow, and tire tracks showed the wheels had been spun in an attempt to get out, but the snow was light enough that the car could have easily been pushed out by the 5 men. The keys to the car were not found, which led police to initially believe that something may have been wrong with the engine, so the men abandoned it in search of help with the intention of returning. But police were able to hotwire the car, and it started immediately, and the gas tank was still a quarter of the way full. The car's undercarriage had no dents and no scrapes, even though the car had been driven on a dirt road up a mountain. The driver would have had to have been extremely careful, or would have needed a familiarity with the road. Madruga's family said he would not have been familiar with this road, though, which caused police to speculate that someone else may have been driving. Madruga's parents stated that he would not let anyone else drive, as his car was his prized possession. Further efforts to search for the men were stopped by a severe snowstorm, and no other trace of the men were found other than the car. So, what do you think so far?
I feel like the schizophrenic guy may have snapped, but that's just what I've heard so far.
All right, well, let's get ready. Let's skip forward a few months. June 4th, 1978. A group of motorcyclists stopped at a trailer maintained by the Forest Service at a campsite off the road about 20 miles from where the car had been located. They noticed a front window had been broken, so they went to investigate. When they opened the door, they were overcome with an odor of what turned out to be the decaying body of Weir, one of the men. Weir's body was laid on a bed wrapped in 8 sheets from his head to his feet. The autopsy showed he had died from a combination of hypothermia and starvation. He had lost nearly 100 pounds from the time he had last been seen alive, and the growth of his facial hair suggested he had been alive as long as 13 weeks from when he had last been seen. His feet were badly frostbitten and almost to the point of being gangrene. On the table next to the bed were his wallet, which still included cash inside, a ring with his name Ted engraved in it, and a gold necklace he had worn to the basketball game. Also found was a gold watch, which his family said did not belong to him, and a half-melted candle. He was wearing the same clothes he had disappeared in, but his shoes could not be located. The trailer that Weir's body was found in had a fireplace, but it had not been used, even though there was a multitude of unopened matches and paperback books that could have been used for kindling. Heavy forestry clothing that could have been used to keep warm inside was also untouched. A dozen ration cans from a nearby storage shed had been opened and consumed, but a locker in the same shed that contained enough dry food to keep all men alive for up to a year had not been opened. Another shed nearby contained a butane tank with a valve, and if that had been opened, it would have fed the trailer's heating system, providing warmth to keep the men alive. This behavior was explained by Weir's family as a lack of common sense stemming from his mental disability. It seemed as though Weir had not been alone in the trailer, and that Matthias and possibly Hewitt had been there with him as well. Matthias's shoes were in the trailer, suggesting that he may have taken Weir's shoes when leaving the trailer. The rations that had been opened with a P38 can opener found in the trailer, which Matthias would have learned how to use from his time in the Army. The sheets over Weir's body also suggested that someone else had placed them on him, as his feet would have been in too much pain from the frostbite for him to have wrapped himself. Searchers returned to the area following the discovery of Weir's body, and the next day more remains were located, later revealed to be those of Madruga and Sterling, on opposite sides of the road 11.5 miles from where the car had been. Madruga's body had been mostly consumed by animals, and only bones scattered over a small area remained of Sterling. Autopsies proved that they had both died from hypothermia. Police speculated one may have given in to the desire for sleep, which is the final stage of hypothermia, and the other refused to leave his friend alone, which eventually led to the same thing. 2 days later, Jack Hewitt's father found his son's backbone under a bush, roughly 2 miles from the trailer Weir's body was in. His shoes and pants found nearby helped identify the body. His death was also attributed to hypothermia. About a quarter mile from the trailer to the northwest, searchers found 3 Forest Service blankets and a rusty flashlight by a road. They were unable to determine how long the items had been there. Since Matthias had presumably not been taking his medicine for his schizophrenia, pictures of him were given to mental institutions all across California, but no trace of Matthias has ever been found.
I'm telling you, man.
In response to local media coverage, many witnesses came forward to share their sightings of the men. This is where it gets fucking ridiculous. Most of these were dismissed by police, but there was one that stood out. Joseph Shones of Sacramento, California, told police he had driven up the same road that the men's car was found on February 24th, the night the men went missing. Joseph owned a cabin on the land, and his family was preparing for a weekend trip, so he had went there a few days beforehand to make sure the snow was cleared. At 5:30 p.m., Joseph's car got stuck in the snow. While trying to get his car out, Joseph realized he was beginning to experience the early symptoms of a heart attack. Joseph got back into his car and kept the engine running to provide heat. After falling asleep, Joseph woke about 6 hours later in severe pain and saw headlights approaching from behind him. Looking out, he saw a car parked behind him with the headlights on and a group of people standing in front of the lights. It looked to him like 7 or 8 people total, and one of them looked like a woman holding a baby. He called out for help, at which point the group of people stopped talking and turned the headlights off. Later on, Joseph said he saw more lights behind him, this time flashlights, and heard talking and whistling. He called for help again, and again the lights turned off and the talking stopped. And there's more.
He said, just wait, bub.
After his car ran out of gas in the early morning hours, Joseph's pain had subsided enough for him to walk 8 miles down the road to a lodge, where the manager drove him back home, passing the abandoned Montego at the point where Joseph recalled hearing the voices and seeing the lights. Doctors later confirmed that Joseph had suffered a mild heart attack and slept it off in his car and then walked 8 miles to find help.
You know what? Fuck it. You know what?
All right, so
there was a murder going on behind him. Like,
a leading theory is that the men witnessed an altercation involving a woman with a baby at the basketball game and attempted to rescue her by giving her a ride to an area that the men were not familiar with. After this, the car got stuck in the snow and was abandoned. The men then followed tracks in the snow, believing shelter would be found, possibly leading to the deaths of Madruga and Sterling along the way. The other 3 men then reached the trailer and broke a window to enter. Since the trailer was locked, they may have believed it to be private property and may have feared being arrested for theft and or vandalism if they used anything inside. After Weir died, or after the remaining men believed he had died, they then more than likely chose to attempt to return to civilization by different routes on foot, leading to Hewitt's death. But no concrete answer has been found, and Gary Mathias has still not been seen dead or alive. Suspicions of foul play have persisted throughout the years, but no further evidence has ever been found, and no other witnesses have ever come forward.
I really do think Gary snapped.
You think so?
Swear to God, I think Gary snapped. For some reason, I just feel like, because no one knows where he's at now.
Yeah, that he's never been found alive or dead.
But
no one knows.
The thing that I don't think was mentioned at all, did they look like they'd been fucked up any, or?
No.
There's really no way to tell, is there? Because
2 of them had been very badly decomposed. Well, one was really decomposed, and one, the body had been eaten by animals.
Yeah.
But the 2 bodies that they did find, which was the decaying body found in the trailer and one found on the side of the road,
right,
did not have any kind of, like, there was no trauma to the body or anything like that. And like I said, it was confirmed that all 4 of the men that died by autopsy was performed and confirmed as hypothermia. So yeah, they didn't find any kind of like weird things about the bodies other than where they
had
were.
Been eaten too, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's gonna happen regardless.
But yeah.
Especially if you're in an area like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, in the mountains of California.
Wolves, fucking bears. Dude, you know the crazy thing about
Cougars?
bears? Like, when bears eat you, they just want to taste and feel the jelly-like substances that are your organs.
Really?
So they won't kill you right away. They'll just hold you down and scoop stuff out of you. Like, it's the slowest way to die, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah. And they tell you that if you ever encounter a bear and a bear's charging you, that you need to get down and cover your head. The thing about that is, dude, how are you going to stay like that? He's going to be breaking your arms, like...
Fun fact about that, actually. There's a chair in the river down there.
There is.
But fun fact about bears, I don't know if it's true in real life, but if you ever play Red Dead Redemption 2,
yeah. Oh, God.
if a bear is ever charging at you, if you just stand still, it won't attack you.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you just stand still and don't move your character around, it will not attack you. It will growl in your face and then turn around and leave.
I promise you that's not true in real life.
Have you tried it, though?
No, but I've seen
How
videos.
do you know?
I've seen videos where people have. Now, my dad knows a guy that was mauled by a bear.
Is he still with us?
Well, yeah, he's still with us. He's just real fucked up looking. No. What do you expect? What do you expect? We're talking about a bear.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's still here. He just looks fucked up now.
Well, there's only so much reconstructive surgery you can do, bud.
I mean, did it... so where did the bear, like, bite him?
Let's see. He's got like this weird thing on his face. They had to move skin from like his
Skin graft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had to move it from his arm or something to his face or some shit.
You ever
I don't know.
you ever seen the movie The Rookie with Dennis Quaid in it? And he's like a 40-year-old high school teacher that tries out for a Major League Baseball team and makes it.
No.
Dude, so it's based on a true story, and one of the funniest parts is he's at a restaurant like in his local town.
Yeah.
And the guys that own it are like 3 old dudes that have known each other for like 50 years. And so they're like, so, because he's a pitcher, that's what he tried out for. And they're like, well, is your arm able to handle that? You know, you're like 42. Like, most of the people playing baseball are like 24.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And his son, who is like maybe 7 in the movie, looks up and he's like, the doctors took something out of his ankle and put it in his shoulder, talking about like reconstructive surgery. But that part always got me, because he's just like, they took something out of his ankle and put it in his shoulder.
It's pretty rad, dude. Getting older is pretty rad. You get to mix and match your parts.
Yeah, dude. Oh, that doesn't work. We'll just take this other piece.
You know what I'm excited for? Dental implants.
Mm.
I wonder how many you can get a year.
A year.
Yeah, I would just go around trying to lose my teeth.
I think, I don't know if there's a limit, but I do know, not my experience, but my dad's experience. He went to the dentist and they were like, you need 3 root canals done.
Ouch.
And he's like, how much would it cost for you to pull all of my teeth out at the same time? And it was cheaper than the 3 root canals. And he said, make me an appointment just to pull all of my teeth.
All of them?
Yes. So he had already lost, because most grown males had 32 teeth. He had already lost 2. He had already lost 2. Yeah, you're supposed to, around 30 to 32 teeth, depending on if you've kept your wisdom teeth.
Okay, I'm counting. Oh, yeah, that's right.
So he had already lost 2.
Yeah.
He had a fake tooth in the front because one of his teeth had gotten knocked out, and he had 1 pulled in the back in his like early 30s.
Damn, son.
So he had 30 teeth left though, 30 natural teeth, and he had them all pulled on the same day at the same time and got dentures.
Nice. My
So-
dad has dentures too.
So yeah, dude. So he's had dentures for about 7 years now. But yeah, it was.
It's the most ridiculous story. What? What?
What? What? We're witnessing something.
Huh? Sorry.
What just happened?
I don't know. I hope I'm okay.
Do you really don't know what just happened?
But no, my dad, in like 7th grade, he got his teeth knocked out in football.
Nice.
It's the dumbest fucking story I've ever heard, and he was embarrassed of it for quite some time. I didn't know till I was 15.
That he had fake teeth?
Yeah.
Wait, when did he get fake teeth? Like
When
in
he was
high
like,
school?
no, when he was like 13.
What the fuck? All of them.
Yeah, the
Just
50s
had
were a
all
weird
of
time.
Jesus. How
Late
old's your-
50s to early 60s were a weird time.
How old's your dad?
He's 60.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say my dad's close to 60. He was born in 61.
Okay.
My dad was.
My dad was born in 59. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Little, same thing.
They're
About the same
same
place.
time. Yep.
Right
All
on.
So
I bet
yeah.
your dad's tough.
Yeah. Well,
guy.
he his lung collapsed while he was
You
at
told
work
me
one
this
day.
story.
I don't know if you all have heard this. My dad,
Tell it.
my dad ran a vending route. He's a warehouse manager now, but at the time he ran a vending route. This was like 2013, I guess. And the route he had was about 8 hours long. It's about an hour and a half into the route, and he just started coughing really bad, and he said he felt his chest get tight for a second, but then it was like okay, and then it was just kind of like a dull pain the rest of the day. Well, as the day went on, the pain got a little bit worse, and so by the time he got off work, he drove himself to the ER because it started to hurt when he was like breathing in. He's like, all right, that's not normal.
Right.
So he drove himself to the ER because it's like 9 p.m. He can't just go to his regular doctor. And they run some tests, and the doctor's like, your left lung is at like 4% functionality. His left lung had collapsed. And he finished his route and then drove himself to the emergency room, smoking cigarettes the whole time.
What the fuck?
And the first thing they say when they're like, yeah, your lungs collapsed, he just says, that would explain why it hurts. That's all he said.
What a smart ass.
Now, he did say the actual collapse wasn't bad. And what they do is they have to put a needle in your lung to like see if it'll inflate back up or to find out if they have to remove it. So they had to remove his, but they had to stick that needle in to see if it would inflate.
They removed his lung?
Mm-hmm.
Your dad only has one lung?
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
So,
Sorry.
So they stuck the needle in. He said that the collapsed lung wasn't too bad. He said the needle going in was very uncomfortable, but he said the worst pain in his life was when they pulled the needle back out. Because what happens is it artificially inflated it.
And then it just...
And then when they pulled it out, all that air just got sucked right back out.
Oh, dude, no.
And so it just shriveled right back up. And that's how they have to find out whether or not you can keep your lung or if they have to remove it after it's collapsed. To see if it would hold air by itself, and it did not.
Oh,
so,
God, if both of your lungs collapse, you're screwed.
Yeah, you're dead.
Yeah, you're dead. You're done. There's nothing you can do.
If both of your lungs collapse, you will not live to tell the tale.
No, you will be fucked so hard by
Forever.
life. 6
But-
feet under.
But
From under cheese.
hopefully you guys enjoyed The Missing Boys of Yuba City. I did a lot of research, as you can tell.
He did. Paragraphs, bitch.
I've got more. So I don't want to do it like every week. Maybe like every other week we'll do like just weird shit like this. But we will see you all next time. Bye, guys. Up, move the camera, and bye.